And one more time, I have an amazing, amazing guest expert who is going to share his experience of how he moved into the whole vegan lifestyle. And it didn't happen by chance. It happened by being very ill. My guest, Shamiz Kachwalla, he had ulcerative colitis, and which nearly killed him. He's got a fascinating story, and now he is a force to be reckoned with. He actually is a certified holistic health and natural healing counselor. He's with the Vibrant Health and Wealth Academy. He's the co-founder of High Carb Health, and he's got quite a story to tell. So welcome to the show, Shamiz.
Are you ready to live the life you deserve? Do you want to feel vibrantly healthy and reach your optimal weight without dieting while being kind to animals and the planet? Then you're in the right place at the right time. Get ready to hear from doctors, nutritionists, experts, and everyday men and women committed to creating a powerful life in mind, body, and soul through ethical food choices. Welcome to Plant-Based Eating for Health with your host, certified plant-based nutritionist, Kathleen Gage.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share my story to all your listeners and obviously inspire someone if I can.
Well, let's hope you will, because you certainly inspired me enough to get on the show. Because, you know, I love bringing people onto the show who have had life-changing experiences that help them to transform their life to now live a very, very healthy life. But that wasn't always the case. Let's start with when you first became very, very ill and what the whole story behind that was.
Absolutely. Haven't we all kind of gone through a journey towards veganism? And I guess this was a sort of catalyst for me as well. So yeah, it all started in Japan the year of 2012. And I basically was being normal or, everyday life, doing what I was doing. I was actually teaching English there. And I didn't really think twice about my health or anything like that. As you don't really pay attention to it too much. You just kind of do what you need to do, eat whatever food that goes inside of you and think, oh yeah, that's going to digest, whatever it may be. It all started when I started getting some blood in my stool. And that was quite a strange situation because I'd never sort of seen that before. And I think it was pretty scary, obviously, seeing that in your toilet bowl and kind of going, whoa, what's that? So I kind of just went to the local GP, and it was an English-speaking doctor because in Japan, like hardly anyone speaks English. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I did obviously know how to be conversational. So I went to an English-speaking doctor, and he kind of said, all right, well, what's going on with you? And I said, look, this is what's happening, and didn't really just sort of came out of nowhere. I didn't sort of see it coming kind of thing. I mean, I was getting a bit tired in the evenings and stuff like that, which was pretty normal. I mean, I was having a hard day at work teaching English, and then sort of it just got worse and worse. And then, I started seeing blood. So he sort of said, let's get you checked. So he said, let's go to the hospital. And that's when I was like, oh, this might be quite serious. But of course, that's where they do all the sort of colonoscopy and things like that in the gastro ward. So he sent me there. So I kind of went there and I said to them, look, this is what's happening. And they said, okay, we're going to do a sigmoidoscopy to see what's wrong. And they kind of sort of gave me the procedure and the prep for that. So I did that. Wasn't very nice. And they said to me, well, you've been diagnosed with a mild form of colitis. And we're just going to keep you in here in hospital for about a week because, we just want to observe you. So little did I know that week would turn into another 5 weeks of pretty much misery. I literally did not know what was going on with my body. The doctors actually didn't know either because I wasn't responding to the medication they were giving me. So they started off with antibiotics and anti-inflammatory drugs, and then week by week it sort of just continued. And the bowel movement situation, which started off with about 3 or 4 bowel movements a day, started climbing 10, 15, 20 times a day. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, I'm here and like I'm under the doctor's care and I'm getting worse. And that's when I kind of was like, oh, I need to call my parents and say, hey, you guys probably need to come here. I'm not doing so well. Doctors don't really know what's going on because I'm not really responding to medications. And at the time, they were giving me food, the hospital food, right? And that was, I think, like a half raw egg, some fish, some miso soup, and some rice porridge. And that didn't really fare well with me. I got worse eating that food. And still the doctors didn't really know what was going on. Fast forward, I mean, I'm going to the toilet, 10, 15 times a day. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm bleeding a lot. And I actually had to get a private room because the room that I was in with like, I think 3 or 4 other people was about 20 meters away from the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't actually make it sometimes because I had to carry the drip and, all the things that were hanging off me at the time. So I had to carry that and basically run like nearly every hour to the toilet. It was pretty bad. And so I said, look, guys, I need to get a private room, which obviously had a toilet right next to the bed. And so my parents came over and they said, what's going on? And the doctor explained that, he's not responding to medications and, he's having a hard time or whatever. So basically, by the 4th or 5th week, I was going to the toilet about 40 times a day, pretty much in nappies. My mum had to actually clean me because I couldn't get out of bed. I was that weak. And I lost around 30 kilos in hospital. And it was pretty bad. And I thought I was going to die pretty much. And then they said, okay, well, we're going to have to do surgery because you're just not in a good state. And I said, look, do what you need to do. I'm in so much pain. I couldn't make decisions for myself, really.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum actually had to intervene and said, hey, no, we're not going to do this. My son's been in your care, blah, blah, blah. You can't do this. So she was scouring on the internet saying, how can I find something else apart from, this medicine? So she found a book online, actually. And this is the book. It's called Self-Healing Colitis and Crohn's, for those listening, by Dr. David Klein. And this book basically talks about self-healing and eating the foods to actually like heal the body, or the body heals itself. So we started that diet. Obviously, it was called the vegan healing diet. And, we started juicing and smoothing and getting the good things and the nourishment in my body. After a week, the doctor sort of was amazed because I started to improve. I did actually also go on to another medication, which he said, if you don't do surgery, you're going to have to go on to this immunosuppressant drug, which was pretty lethal. I went on to that drug for about a couple of days and I was like, I read up on the side effects and I'm like, hey, no way I'm taking more of that. It did calm my bowel movements down from about 40 to around 15 to 20, which gave me some sort of relief.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't enough. And then we started the diet as well. And body started to improve. I did 4 colonoscopies in total in hospital. The 4th one was the one that got me discharged from hospital because the 3rd one was severe. So my disease actually progressed from mild colitis to severe ulcerative colitis in hospital under the doctor's care with the medicine. So it was actually, worse. I got worse. Anyway, so as I started the diet, the body started to heal. And after 1 week, no ulcers, very, very mild inflammation down in my rectum. Doctor was amazed. He said, medication's working. I actually stopped taking the medication that were given me in hospital. I wouldn't recommend anyone do that because you don't want to do that. But I was in a desperate situation, so I needed to do something. So I got discharged from hospital. Wasn't over then. I got home, back home to New Zealand because I couldn't work anymore. I was still quite underweight. My bowel started working well. I went back to eating animal products because I had a lot of cravings. Yeah, I've been eating animal products for 20 years of my life, or I was 23 when I got diagnosed, and I had a lot of cravings. But I wasn't vegan then. I was plant-based, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I went back to eating animal products, because I didn't think of the animals or anything like that until I got sick again. So I had a relapse. I had a flare-up again after eating these foods, because we all know that animal products are not good for us. And that's when my vegan journey actually started as well, because I started to realize that this was just not for my health. Because I watched actually one video. It was a video on the egg industry. And we all know how cruel the egg industry is and how they just incinerate male chicks alive. If you haven't seen that video, just search egg industry on YouTube and you'll find out. And it's horrifying. And that was the point when I said, look, I can't do this. I can't eat any animal products anymore, because this is just devastating. I had a connection with animals. Everybody does, everybody loves animals. But we just don't know, because we don't see it, what happens behind the scenes. So that really kind of caught my eye. And after that, it was about 6 to 8 months. I went through suicidal depression, because not because of veganism, but because I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn that I couldn't eat these foods, not because I didn't want to. It's just the fact that my health was going to suffer from these foods too. So it was actually a win-win, because, veganism aligned with, good, healthy foods, whole food, plant-based living. And it works so well. So, became vegan, obviously. And this book really helped me. It's called Love Your Body by Louise Hay. And she really changed my mental aspect of, how to overcome depression and how to sort of heal mentally. And yeah, I recovered again. And after that, I never looked back. It's been 10 years now, more than 10 years now since that day that I recovered. And I'm absolutely thriving now on a plant-based diet. I have been for a very long time. And it was just a really amazing journey. And it's been a great catalyst. I've been a great catalyst for my family, because my family's also changed. My brother's gone vegan as well. His wife is vegan. His kids are vegan. My mum and dad also are vegan.
Wow. So that's pretty incredible. Now, when you say they're vegan, are they plant-based vegan?
Well, no, because I've taught them a lot about veganism.
Okay.
And I think they try their best. They're probably about 99% vegan. I mean, I don't think they go and buy products that have any animals in them, like even clothes and stuff. Because I've taught them, it's not just about what we eat. It's obviously animals that we use for entertainment and the clothes that we wear and all sorts of things. So I think they understood quite a lot of it. And obviously everybody makes mistakes. You can't be 100% perfect, because you might just see something and you'd be like, oh, I didn't know it had any animal products in it. Because I mean, these days you have to really read what's in the packaging and obviously what's inside the material. But no, they've really taken that on board as well. And
that's quite a feat, because a lot of people, they have resistance from their families. I mean, I've had people say, oh, you're just taking this whole vegan thing a little too far. And it's like, well, no, actually, I'm not, because I won't buy cheese for people. I won't buy meat for people. And mine extends into cosmetics, hair products, all of that. But, you said a few things that I find really interesting, in that first of all, as a young man, you did what a lot of young men don't do. You went to the doctor, where a lot of people, they'll suffer with something, but it's like, oh, I'll be darned if I'm going to go get that checked out. And then to have all the colonoscopies. One of the reasons that colon cancer is more prevalent in men than women is because of the fact that a lot of men wait until it's too late and they're in stage 4. And you also had your mom as an advocate. And I think anytime that we're dealing with an illness, it helps to have an advocate who really will go to bat for us. But when you first noticed the blood in your stools, was it blood, or was it black stools? How did you know that it was blood in the stools?
Yeah, it was dripping blood.
Okay.
Yeah. So generally, a lot of people have hemorrhoids, and
Right.
that you can actually get blood from your rectum from that and going to the toilet from that too. But for me, I was just feeling really tired and stuff, and that's what I told the doctor. And I said, no, it's not hemorrhoids because I don't have anything down there that's
Right.
feels like that. So that's why he said let's do the sigmoidoscopy, and just to see what's going on. So yeah, it was definitely blood, like dripping, and you could see it in the toilet bowl as well, and it was
incredible.
very scary.
So let's fast forward to today and when you started really coaching people on nutrition and a starch-based diet. Dr. McDougall is somebody who really promotes a starch-based diet. And there's so many misconceptions about food. So how did you move from being incredibly ill, healing yourself with food, going back to eating the animal-based products, and you found out you couldn't do that, to now your whole life revolves around helping people to get healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. So after I got better, it took a couple of years to really get myself in a much better position, getting my sort of fitness back up and running again as well. So by 2014, we started High Carb Health. Basically, my brother actually started our YouTube channel, and he basically was just talking about whole food, plant-based, and he interviewed me on his channel, and that got a lot of hits. I mean, people, because I obviously said how I healed ulcerative colitis, and people started contacting us saying, hey, what did you do? What did you do? So we actually started helping them and saying, hey, look at these resources, take these books and read them. So obviously the OG doctors, the plant-based doctors, McDougall, Esselstyn, Neil Barnard, Dr. Clapper, all those amazing doctors that have written all these amazing books, especially Whole by T. Colin Campbell, and the China study, obviously. And that's something that that was a game changer for us when we started getting this information, because it's amazing what what research is out there, and then obviously what makes sense in terms of science. So reading all those books and then obviously getting certified, that allowed us to really start spreading the message more. And so we started using the social media platforms to try and spread the message that, hey, if you want to get better, if you don't want to be on medications for the rest of your life, because that's what I'm supposed to be on medication for the rest of my life. That's what the doctor said. He gave me a suitcase full of medication when I left Japan. I actually just dumped that in the bin, like when we got home and in the apartment in Japan. And so I mean, it wasn't for me. Taking medication for the rest of my life, that wasn't me. I don't think anybody wants to take medication for the rest of their lives, So we started to really understand nutrition and a whole food, plant-based diet, starch-based, fruit-based, starch-based, and low fat. That's the key. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand what is low fat, because you have one avocado a day, and that's still quite high in fat. People don't understand that, but it's the calorie-nutrient ratio, the 80-10-10 lifestyle. The 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, 10% fat. That's a good sort of base. If you have other sort of things that you want to do, you can increase those ratios. But that's what we live by, and that's why we're called high carb health, because all fruits and vegetables are high in carbohydrates, except for, I think, olives, avocados, and a couple of others. But most most of the fruits and vegetables that we eat are high in carbohydrate. So, it's when you actually break everything down, there's absolutely nothing wrong with eating more fruits and vegetables in your diet. That's what you got to do. That's where the antioxidants come from. That's where the phytonutrients come from. That's where the minerals and vitamins come from. What do the animals eat to get their nutrition? They eat plants. So why go through the middle animal to get to the plant nutrition? So once you start to realize that, it becomes more easy.
Well, and it's so interesting because when you look at, especially like in the United States, and I know in other countries, they're catching up with our health statistics or lack thereof. We're at nearly 50% obesity rate. Diabetes is through the roof, cancer, heart disease, all of it. And I'm very high risk for colon cancer, or I used to be plant-based eating, because I have been precancerous and, so the whole 9 yards. But it's amazing how oftentimes people will be given the solution, but they say, oh, I can't be bothered with it. And I was talking with a woman the other day who is morbidly obese. She just got through going through breast cancer. They did radiation. She didn't do the chemo, but we were talking about foods, and she said, well, I could never give up bacon. And I'm like, really? And she goes, and I just love butter too much. And I said, there are vegan options to that. And she goes, no, that's just too much work. And I thought, here you're morbidly obese. And I couldn't help but find myself judging the situation, and I don't walk in her shoes. So obviously I can't decide for her, but it just, every time I go to the grocery store, even the health food stores, now there's more and more unhealthy people. So with what you do, Shamiz, how can you encourage people to at least try for even 30 days to eat differently so that they could experience what the health benefits would be?
Absolutely. And I think this is where a lot of people wait until they get sick to do something about it. And obviously this person still didn't do anything about it, even though she had such a, bad issue. But generally, people are quite, prevention is the next best cure, right? As we all say. And, when people just start eating more whole plants. And if you do that, you'll notice a significant difference in your health. If you just cut out the processed stuff, you'll definitely notice that. And start with that. Like, you don't have to go full guns blazing, and if you do, that's only going to benefit you. So decide what you want. And obviously for me, the animals and veganism also had a part to play in that, because I just, morally couldn't, kill an animal myself. So why get someone else to do it for you?
Right.
And I think that was also part of the reason why, I've stuck to this, because it's not only for my health. I'm doing this for, the innocent animals that are being killed all the time. And I don't want to be participating in that. I don't want to be paying for that to happen. And people don't realize that when they go and buy something from the supermarket, they're actually paying for that. The demand and supply is there. So the more we demand that sort of food, the more it's going to start coming out. So I'm one less person buying these animal products and choosing more of the whole plant foods. And occasionally maybe I'll have something that's a bit more processed because I feel like, but I don't need to have any kind of animal products to live and to survive and to thrive. I'm training at the moment for a half Ironman, and I've done a marathon.
Okay.
I did a marathon 2021 December, and that was my first ever marathon. And I didn't think I could do something like that. If I wasn't getting enough protein, then I wouldn't obviously be able to do things like that. So, there's lots of protein. When it comes to protein, it's the plants that have the amino acids in the first place, and that's what we're looking for. We're not actually looking for protein. We're looking for amino acids. And so get them from plants, because that's where they come from. Protein is initially made by plants anyway. So again, skip the middle animal. Go straight to the source.
And that's where people have been given so much wrong information because, even like in the States, the FDA, people say, oh, it's approved by the FDA. Well, what they don't know is the FDA is actually getting paid by the very companies that they're approving their drugs, and just, what's healthy, what's not healthy. So with what you're doing, and good for you on the marathon. I did my first marathon at 61, and then I did my first triathlon. It was a sprint triathlon at 64.
Wow.
My claim to fame is I always come in last, and that's okay. I still do it. But and my idea of fun, I'm going to be 69 in a few months, and my idea of fun is participating in races. For the first day of the new year, I actually did a 5K run, and it was like, that's how I want to start my new year. That's what living a plant-based life gives me. Now, for you, with the people that you work with, when somebody, and let me remind people that you are listening to the Plant-Based Eating for Health show. My name is Kathleen Gage, and I'm talking with Shamiz of High Carb Health. And with the people you work with, Shamiz, how do you start their protocol? What's the onboarding process, and who would be an ideal client for you?
Absolutely. So we work with a lot of people that have gut issues. So from ulcerative colitis to Crohn's disease to IBS to diverticulosis. So anybody, bloating, diarrhea, we'll help everyone. But basically, we want to first. I do a free consultation, by the way. So if you do want to talk to me, more than happy. The reason why I do
how would people reach you? Let's get that out on the table.
Absolutely. So highcarbhealth.com, there's a free health survey that you fill out for us, and then obviously you'll book a meeting through that. So just head over to our website and you'll see it, free consultation. So the reason why I do that consultation is because I need to explain to them what is needed, okay? And that first consultation basically is like it's a way for me to go, right, are you ready to do this? Mm-hmm. Because there are going to be some challenges. Anyone knows that when you change something in your life, there will be some hurdles, there will be some obstacles. And this is what I talk about. So I want to be straight up with them and say, hey, look, there's a lot of people out there that, represent something differently, than what is actually real. So I give them the real situation and say, look, it's not going to be as easy as you think it is. But it can be if you want it to be. And so I sort of talk them through. There's three phases that we sort of use. So there's a transition phase, there's a healing phase, and there's a post-healing phase. And so we kind of go through all those phases with the client, and we explain to them how the body digests these foods, how they assimilate in the body, and how the body actually does all the healing work that's necessary. The food provides the body with the conditions. Okay, so the food doesn't heal us. Okay, food gives the body the right conditions to do the healing work itself. And so that explanation and that knowledge that we have, we teach and we educate them. So this is an education program on how to live a life without dis-ease of the body, and how to basically apply certain principles that we teach for the rest of your life, without medications, if you want to be without medications.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to take them, so I'm not on them. But how to manage, and obviously then teach them about certain things that happen in the industries, and that's how we sort of get people to start to think twice about where they're getting their food from, right, and what they can do about this condition, and the earlier you're diagnosed, the better chance you have to get through to the other side, because it can take a while. We don't focus on symptoms either. We want to focus on the root cause of the problem, okay? Because we're not about eating this type of food and then settling your symptoms, because that doesn't mean healing, okay? True healing comes from within, and there's so much more to just diet. As I talked about, I went through suicidal depression because this disease took over my life. Mm-hmm. And so this is what we teach in some way as well. My experience of how I've been able to overcome the certain depression that I went through, and what you guys can do about it as well, because this disease, I can relate to you. I know what it's like to be sick, but I also know what it's like to be very healthy and fit and not have to worry about going to the bathroom.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Again, your web address?
highcarbhealth.com. You can
Okay.
follow me on Instagram too. I mean, you can see exactly what I get up to every day. I post on my stories. If you click on the green H, you'll see exactly what I eat every single day and what I get up to. Obviously, right now I'm training for an Ironman, half Ironman. So I'm doing a lot of training at the moment, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I was still sick, and
Absolutely.
wouldn't be able to do if I had ulcerative colitis. So it just goes to show that you can live a life without this disease and thrive, you know.
Well, and I really like the idea that, you know that you can help people that are going through this because you've been through it. It's just like people in recovery. I've been sober for 39 years, and as somebody
Wow.
who's in recovery, I can talk to another alcoholic in a way that other people can't, because they just, they don't understand the whole process, the mindset, all of that. Where you've been through it, you know what it's like, to be deathly ill, and you know what it's like to heal yourself. So I just want to say this has been delightful, Shamiz, and I wish you the very best. And I encourage people to check you out and to go to highcarbhealth.com. That's highcarbhealth.com, and check it out. If you've got any kind of digestive illness going on, this would be the place to go, so that you can at least have that initial consultation and find out, is this something that is your solution? And it very well may be. So I want to encourage people to really look at your own health, look at what you're putting into your body, look at the energy of the food that you're putting in your body, because when you put death and fear and anguish in your body through the animals, that's what is going to happen to you. If you put live food into your body, then you can live in a way that you never imagined possible. This is Kathleen Gage with the Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show, thanking you for tuning in, and we encourage you, go out, live healthy. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for your commitment to an ethical life through plant-based food choices. The kind of choices that are kind to your body, the environment, and most of all, animals. Be sure to leave a review and rating of the Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show.